You're listening to KCYP 97.7 The City. This is Scarlet Rose, and you're now listening to RGV Rocks. Once again, you are listening to KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City. This is Scarlet Rose along with my co-host
Rockin' Rudy.
And welcome to RGV Rocks. KCYP 97.7 FMLP The City is a nonprofit organization that promotes local artists such as myself and is the home of indie music. We are now accepting donations to our website www.thecity977.com, and as well as sponsorships to keep this radio station thriving. For more information on paying donations, sponsorships, or business advertisement, feel free to contact Joe Martinez at 956-789-0702 or by email at martinezjoe@hotmail.com. I will be leaving the donation links in the description below for anyone who wants to donate to the city, or even as well as just donate, or even like pretty much like call up Mr. Martinez and say like, hey, I want to sponsor your show. We do need sponsorship, so please feel free to contact him as soon as possible. But for the people that don't know who we are, what we do, RGV Rocks is a radio show and now an online podcast dedicated to local talent, events, and all the wonderful people in the RGV, such as you and I. Rudy, do you want to give a very special welcome to our very special guest for today?
But I do, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women and children of all ages, stay on your seats, be back and watch as we got the one and only Mr. Freddie B from the one and only Yeah, I Said That podcast. How you doing, brother?
Actually, Mr. Sir, it's I'll have another podcast.
Yeah,
another one.
Yeah, but I'll forgive on this one. AKA the YIHA podcast, YIHA.
YIHA podcast. Okay, so we got two podcasts going on at one time now. That's right.
Yeah, so it's that one, and I also have the Right Said Fred podcast as well.
Right Said Fred, just like the movie, right? Right Said Fred.
It's like the band, the group, they got the bald guys with no shirts on.
Too sexy for my shirt. That's why you said if you can keep your shirt on. Oh, okay.
It's good for numbers. It
is good for the ratings. It is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are watching the one and only right here. He's got another friend that's with him as well, but he's not there today because he's got another podcast he's doing. We'll go ahead and see if we can get a hold of him later and see if we can interview him as well. All right, so let me ask you something there, Mr. Fred. How long have you had your podcast? So
right now we're going on 50 episodes in, so we're like about a year and change. Those ups and downs. We have those weeks where you can't get a guest or scheduling, but yeah. So it's pretty much we're about 50 episodes in. We ended season 1 recently, so we got season 2 coming up in a couple of weeks with some great guests. Dude. I'm excited about that, man.
Oh my God! Congratulations!
Yeah. I appreciate being off the game for a bit. You're kind of like, I want to do it. Yeah. So season 2 is coming up, man. So I'm excited about that. Dude.
Oh my God!
This is like the most exciting things that we do, huh? Look at that. I mean, just because they said COVID came out and stuff like that, podcasts just started popping up left and right, like there's no tomorrow. Right. That's the great thing, 100%. Some podcasts are making it, some podcasts ain't. But you know what? As long as you keep trying, that's all that matters.
Exactly. Yeah, it's hard, man. Struggling time wise, scheduling and all that stuff. So we all have jobs too on the side too. Like most of us. So it's one of those things. Like it's tough to do, man, but it's very, very rewarding in the end.
Well, congratulations on making on getting ready to do your 50th there. And that is so awesome.
I appreciate it.
You have 2 podcasts going on. Give me the names of the first one and the second one once again.
Yeah, so the first one's already out there on all platforms. It's called I'll Have Another podcast, aka the YIHA podcast. That's YIHA podcast. And the second one, we're gonna get it going hopefully by next week. We already have episodes recorded, so we're gonna release them by next week hopefully. It's called the Right Said Fred podcast. Different format, different content. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, I have one that's kind of like a series interview podcast where we cry and all that kind of stuff. And then my new podcast is more of we're gonna have fun and argue important points against each other. Right Said Fred. Who's right? What I mean? Type of deal.
I got you. Okay. That is so awesome. That's awesome. And let me ask you something. You live, I know you're from the Valley. What part of the Valley do you live in?
I live in one of the toughest, areas you can believe in, place with the best tacos, I'm saying, the coldest beer. Las Milpas, Texas.
Oh
you were way out there in Las Milpas. Yeah, that's a awesome place.
Where men are made, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. They got good family, good friends who live out there.
Las Milpas, though?
That's good for you, though. That's a good thing for you guys, because we're out here. They're a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, they're very different out there.
It's in the water.
I know. Yeah. Like I said, I got family friends that live out there, so yes, I know they're kind of loose and kind of You know,
it's in the water. I do put out a lot.
I
So,
don't
yeah.
I don't think it's in the water, those meatballs. I think it's in the trees. You know, as you walk by,
The
you get slapped by a
trees?
tree. Palos, you know.
And they're not really trees. They're actually dudes hiding out and slapping you. That's what it is out here. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
what it
be
is. There you
careful.
go.
You got to be careful out here. You know what I'm saying?
If
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, I think I heard that you guys were the ones that also did an interview with the RGV Banditas.
Yes, we did. That's been our longest podcast ever. So we did about 3 hours on that one.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Yeah.
Did you follow them around at the skating rink or anything like that, or while they were doing the roller derby game?
I was actually like associated with one of them back in the day. I used to do their fundraisers too, because I do barbecue, So I used to go to
No
their games.
wonder I've heard about you before, because
really?
I think that they mentioned you on their the last interview too. They
Oh, okay.
shouted you out or something like that, because I was like, he sounds so familiar, but I can't remember where.
I mean,
Yeah, I do barbecue and I also have an OnlyFans too. So
Only
it's not good.
and
I'm
if
just kidding,
somebody
I'm just
wanted to get a hold of you, just say for a fundraiser, you can cook for them and stuff like that. You charge, I'm pretty sure, or you do it for free out of your heart.
I guess it depends on the situation. So it's kind of like a fundraiser for like a funeral expense or like medical expenses. I don't charge. I just have them buy everything and I'll cook it and I'll help them serve it too and promote it. If it comes about like raising money for like a team, so have you, or equipment or something, whatever. I guess to continue like your path and whatever you're doing, I do charge a little tiny fee, just to pay for my labor. I mean, nothing crazy. I'll make like $100 out of it or anything. So it's just more it's more for them and me because I enjoy cooking and stuff. So yeah, I don't mind doing it.
So let me ask you, what's your favorite dish to cook?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm vegan. So no. Just kidding. I'm not vegan. Look at me. I'm not vegan, right?
You're vegan and eat all the bush.
I'm gonna say I want to say I do a really good pork spare rib. Here in the valley, the pork spare ribs are not a big thing because I think people like pork, but they don't like pork ribs because they don't really sell a lot. But when I started doing the pork spare ribs, people started buying them like crazy. So it's an easy cook. It's really nice on the ice too, with peppery bark and everything, kind of salty, sweet, spicy type of deal, nice and tender. So I probably go with the pork spare ribs. It's a good cook. I enjoy it. About 4 or 5 hour cook, and not too long like a brisket. But it's really enjoyable.
Oh my gosh, I'm already
Here comes
getting
the fun
hungry. I
part.
haven't eaten breakfast and now I want barbecue. My god.
I thought we were done questions. I thought we were done. Just kidding.
Right? But to start off the interview, because you are from I'm sure
Las Milpas.
that's where it was. Going into like the interview part of our interview, since you are from the RGV, I was wondering, and this is the most infamous question we always ask on our show, especially to new interviewees, what is your favorite part about the RGV and why?
Okay, so I guess my answer is going to be a little different because I do check out y'all's interviews. I do check out y'all's stuff. So great content. I really do enjoy y'all's y'all's work. That's why I wanted to be on the show. You know what I mean? But I do see a lot of people saying that this Valley mentality stuff or the Valley people. I don't know if I've just been lucky, but I've never experienced that. I've always experienced like people being super nice, super caring. I always want to help out. Like when I do a fundraiser, when I was like down on my luck, people helped me out when I did a fundraiser for myself. So I think the thing I like about the Valley most is like those nice people, those Mexicano people that like they'll give you like if they got $5, they'll give you 4. You know what I'm saying? They have to take care of you before you take care of them. That's what I've experienced here in the Valley. I know people have another different view on it, but they probably suck. You know what I'm saying? I think if you're good, you get good. I say the good people, that are here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I know literally people that will actually take their shirts off their back to give it to you just so you can have a shirt, And
I was about to do that earlier. You know what I'm saying? We talked about this.
Yes. But remember, I did tell you to keep your pants and shoes on, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's been times too, where I have friends, because I also work in therapy too. So I have friends too, that come from out of state and they come to the Valley and they're like, dude, like for one man, the women are beautiful here. You know what I mean? Beautiful. Destiny, shout out Destiny, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
and they're like, dude,
that's like the first compliment I had this semester, holy.
There you go,
right? Oh, what?
I'm trying not to cuss, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I get that a lot, that and the food's great and the people are nice too. And also people, that come here from the Valley that are in like in medical field or from different cultures. They've told me stories, where they ran out of gas and then somebody like within 3 minutes will stop and like, hey, come to Holmes, what's going on? You need gas, whatever. Yeah. And then sure enough, they'll go get the gas for them, no charge, whatever. You know what I mean? So I hear a lot of those stories around here, and that happens a lot, but people are really focused on the bad stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I just want to highlight that about the Valley, that people are so kind, so giving back. Yeah, so shout out to the Valley, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, back in the day, it was Rescue 945 with Q94.5, the rock station. I would drive up and down the highways and byways and help people out. radiator problems, gas running out or
Yeah,
whatever,
100%.
changing flat tires and stuff, and
Pushing
even help
cars,
out,
like
even
that.
help out the winter Texans that get lost, make sure they get back the right
Oh yeah.
way and stuff. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's very rewarding too when you help out like that and everything, because it comes back to you 10 times fold, which is good to hear.
100%.
It's good to hear that you've got a real good humble heart and everything like that. Do
Yeah.
you have any family, Fred?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Off in the valley, different parts, of course, of the valley is not big, but there's a bunch of cities. But yeah, they're spread out here in the valley. I'm
I'm
the
talking
youngest
about,
of three.
how about you yourself? Do you have any
Kids.
children, married?
I'm not married, and no kids that I know of.
Oh
That I
my-
know of.
That's another
You know
good
what I'm
thing about
saying?
the valley. They won't tell you got a child. They'll keep it to
Yeah, dude.
themselves.
I mean, like if anything, hopefully, like by the time they're 18 or 20, they knock on my door, hey dad, and they have a job, and they're taking care of themselves. Best case scenario. I have a dog, but I'm not one of those like, oh, my dog's my child. No, I'm not that person. But I do have a dog that I do love a lot. But that's about anything, I have. I have a dog and I have a barbecue pit. That's what I take care of all the time.
So you make a weenie roast by throwing the dog in the pit. I see. Okay.
Hmm. She's good. She's really good.
How did you get into podcasting? Because that you have your background with barbecue and all that stuff, right? But
Yeah.
how did you want to start a podcast specifically? Yeah, I'll have another.
So I think, like most podcasters, kind of the similar story. A lot of us think that we're funny and people need to hear us, but we're not. So we try it out and we're like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. But no, during the pandemic, my buddies from the 9.56 ABB podcast, I think you interviewed Mr.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So so they're my homeboys, right? I used to work with Johnny back. Well, Johnny Esco, he's a co-host. I used to work with him back in the day. They started a podcast, and I was like, you can do that. I've always been a fan of podcasts. I mean, like most of us start with Joe Rogan, of course, and we jump onto other podcasts, right? So like nowadays, I don't watch TV. I don't hear music. I hear podcasts on the daily. So after I saw that they did, I'm like, I don't know, you can do that. I thought it was like something that's real expensive, real pricey, like out of my price range. So I reached out to them. They're like, no, this is what we have going on. Whatever. This is what we did. And the thing about the Valley and the podcast community is that they're so friendly, so giving. They give a lot of advice. And I'm saying like nobody's trying to, like make it by themselves. I mean, they want to make it together. So I appreciate that about the Valley and podcasting in the Valley. But yeah, sure enough, I saw them doing it. I was like, let me go check it out. We got a few sponsors, and within a few months, like, we were able to get our first mic set up. Again, given the Valley to help us out. We got to go in our first episode. We weren't too sure, like, I guess the angle on the episode, like, I guess our genre. So we kind of I invited a friend of mine who's a single father. You know what I mean? And we called the episode "Baby Daddy Drama" to talk about like the single father's experience. I'm saying, so we talked about that, working the refineries, and that episode. I mean, the first like I think 2 days we get like 120 downloads, and we're like, I don't know if that's good or not. People get like 1 million, but I guess we'll see what happens. That's been our biggest episode yet. Like with the most downloads yet. And from there, we kind of hopped on to other kind of stuff, but kind of the same kind of genre. I guess you can say we interview people that are going through things or have experienced stuff, whatever. And I guess to kind of like figure out their journey. I mean, and everything in between.
It's good.
I can talk the whole time, man. So I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna stop because I can just fucking talk the whole time. So
You can continue if you want. We want to hear more
That's part of the
stories.
podcast. That's
well,
part
how
of the
about this?
podcast.
My second episode was actually probably like our fifth biggest episode. We interviewed a buddy of mine. He had been struggling for a hard time with drugs. I mean, so he was an ex-drug addict. I looked him up on county records, whatever, jail, whatever. He had like 15 arrests, whatever, mostly drug related. But he got married and he found God, right?
Mhm.
And like he's not one of those like crazy like Christian, like, oh, you're wrong, I'm right. He's more of a, I went through my stuff. This helped me out, and I'm not gonna put it on you. But we interviewed him, and he told us the whole story. That he wasn't quiet about anything, and based off that episode too, we got a bunch of feedback. People wanted to know who he was. People wanted his Cash App to send him money, to help him out on his journey, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that kind of inspired a lot of people, and it made people cry, made people laugh. It was a great episode. So after that episode, I was like, you know what, dude, I wanna talk to people who are going through things, because I myself also go through, like daily battles too. I think like most of us do. So hearing people's stories and hearing them share makes you feel like, I'm not alone.
Mhm.
So I think it's pretty cool. So that's kind of like, that second episode made me think, what, dude, like, I think here we have something here. So we kept on pushing, and now we're 50 in. So I mean, that's not too bad for a year and change. But
Let's
yeah,
talk about your most recent episode, the most hated man on the internet. You want to talk
Yeah.
about that?
yeah. So I mean, pretty much that was a clickbait, or to try that out and stuff. So pretty much my last two episodes that I did, I had COVID. I caught COVID, right? And luckily I wasn't too bad, a little bit of, whatever, a little bit of symptoms, but nothing crazy, right? So I was kind of at home, man, and I was like, man, like I want to record it. I mean, and I have no guest. Well, I kind of have a guest, right? Because, whatever. So I just say, yeah, I'm going to go live. Like, I mean, a solo, because I enjoy solo podcasts as well. I really like how people kind of like just go on their rants, you know what I mean? And just kind of just like talk about stuff and like free their mind. And I want to say, like, at the beginning of my podcast journey, I would always talk about things that were like relatable, or people, or like, how do I put it? Like, I wouldn't say anything that will get you mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I get you.
not my real opinion on things, because people are on the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that last episode, I was kind of like, you know what? I'm just gonna vent about how I feel about certain things. I mean, as a single dude in my early 30s, I mean, I experience a lot. I see a lot of things, with men and women and like, work and everything. So it's pretty much, me ranting about things that I saw. And the title is actually a Netflix documentary that I saw on Netflix. So it was pretty good. It's about this dude, it's a family show. I'm not gonna go into what he does, but you check it out. It's called The Most Hated Man on the Internet. It's a documentary on Netflix. Super great. Yeah. But it was a solo pod. It was pretty cool to just rant and just go off, just kind of talk trash, unedited. I didn't edit anything. It was all in there, I even dropped, I think, my mic once, and I'm like, oh, who cares? I'm just pick it up. Yeah. It's
That's
raw.
okay. I've dropped my phone before.
You know?
while we're filming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Dude, I've recorded once, where we didn't catch the whole first hour, and we're like, oh man, let's go
What?
again.
Oh my god, so much.
Yeah. But the second, like, like the second time, it came out even better. So we're like, okay, that kind of worked. My jokes landed better. So like, all right, let's keep it.
It's all the little things here and there that can go wrong will go wrong, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And when does your podcast air?
Yeah. So we've hopped around, to different days. To see like what days hit more. I know for a while I was doing Thursdays, right, for the weekend. My dog's next to me, so she barks. So ignore her. So I drop episodes back then on Thursdays. But I realized like podcasts, long format conversations are better for weekdays. Instead of weekends, like in my opinion, because I'm at work on weekdays. So I'm hearing like if I don't catch you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Saturday, I'm busy. I don't check out podcasts. So I think my season 2 I'm gonna start dropping on Mondays or Tuesdays, to get the whole weekend, for the check it out, whatever. So stay tuned for us on Tuesdays. I think both podcasts will drop on Tuesdays. Yeah.
And on what platforms can we see you on?
Spotify. Most of them. Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Pandora Radio, Amazon Music. Most of those. Just not iTunes. And not YouTube yet.
Mm-hmm.
Are you planning to expand that way too?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Because again, like I was trying to analyze, like the analytics of it, whatever. And I know iTunes brings in a lot. They bring in a lot of views. But also, I'm an Android guy. So I gotta figure out like, can I even get like an Apple ID when I'm Android? I'm not a big tech guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's all the technical stuff that you have to deal with.
I play with fire, so I don't really care about what stuff, dude. I have like a cool phone, but I don't know how to use it. I couldn't even set up our audio. We started the conversation.
Yeah, just like me, I got this awesome iPhone. I just want to talk and text. That's all I want, and then do the podcast as well.
Yeah.
You know how you mentioned the guy that was dealing with drugs and then found his way through God. Have you ever had any more crazy experiences on the show since then?
I guess you can say like my brand was kind of like interviewing people that people would never ever talk to, for that reason or whatever. So earlier on, I interviewed an ex-convict. He did 70 years for selling guns. He's a buddy of mine, like he's a good dude. He just made some some mistakes, So I interviewed him, and pretty much he just kind of talked about the whole process of him like tricking people into, getting involved with them, whatever. The money he would make, his hustle, his selling of drugs too. Him being on the run for I don't know how many months. He broke down like piece by piece, so like the scenario of him being back at his mom's house to go to a party or a quinceañera, I think, and him hearing a knock on the door, him looking outside in the window and see a bunch of marshals just set up outside his house, so he had two choices, like book it or come back. So he was gonna book it, but he heard them come in the front door, and I think they were questioning his stepdad, and they're like, if you don't turn him in, you're going in too. So he heard that and he ran back in. He's like, you know what, don't take my stepdad, I'm right here. Just take me in. So they took him in. He ended up doing 7 years for guns, and he talked about how he made money in jail, his hustle in jail, what he learned, and all that good stuff. So that was like a 2-hour conversation, I think, that we had. But man, it was all gold. I was like, wow, dude, like, if I'm ever caught, for doing something funny, what I'm saying, now I know what to do, But yeah, it was a pretty good one. I had him talk about that. I interviewed I know you said it's a family show, but it's not a bad word. But I interviewed a sex worker. She does OnlyFans. She does dancing, prostitution, all that kind of stuff, whatever. Because I do believe, I know sex work gets a bad rap. You know what I'm saying? Okay, there's a bunch of like crazy girls that are on drugs, whatever. But that's not the truth. I know a bunch of them too, and they're hard workers. They're single moms. They're trying to figure it out, but unfortunately, they've been dealt to bad hands. So, the way to make money in 3-4 hours is to do that. So I interviewed her. She talked about the whole breakdown of how she makes money, why she did it. Her friends that are single moms, single this. We talk about also the trans community too, and how they're affected by it too. The laws that were passed, to pretty much like screw up their business as well. So it was a pretty good conversation. So I mean, I've had a bunch, dude. You know what I mean? My favorite one, not favorite, I can't say that, that's unfair, but a really good one that's kind of recent. I interviewed Braids by Becca. She's a braider here in the Valley. The best braider in the Valley. I want to say she's one of the only people in the Valley that has her own only braid shop. And her journey is amazing, man. Like I cried twice in that interview because it was so powerful. Same thing, she got arrested too for selling guns and drugs, I think. She went in. She was pregnant when she was in prison. She found out she was pregnant. She had thoughts of just like tripping herself, and having a miscarriage because she didn't want to, do that anymore. So pretty much, whatever happened, she got out. She started hustling. She started braiding out of her house, and she made it. I mean, like it's a longer story. I mean, I really encourage you, to see that interview because it's a great interview. But she made it out alive, and now she's doing very well. She goes on tours, all around, like the states and stuff, to show women how to braid, how to make money, how to market themselves, and I guess put money in their own pocket and not rely on, I guess, men like she put it, to get that money.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was a pretty good interview.
Nice.
They kind of just like freaked me out, like, oh, I can't believe, like I'm hearing this story. You know what I'm saying?
That's
But,
cool. That's cool. It's good to hear. I mean, like I said, out there in the Valley, there are some good people. Even though they went through some hard times, hard lives and stuff like that, they just get better and better, and that's the experience. And that's how you learn. You experience the bad things and stuff like that, and you already know what you need to do to get better. And that's what that was. But hey, we thank you for your podcast. You're bringing in the people. That like us, we have RGV Rocks. We do the Valley Talents. And you do the people that go through hard life and and stuff like that. And that is so awesome. That really is. It's a good way to show people that there are good people, even though they might have started off bad, So
I guess you can say, like, in a sense, I heard this on a podcast. I guess you can say I'm highlighting the lowlights. You know what I mean? I'm highlighting the lowlights. To show like, hey, you don't have to be perfect, to succeed. You know what I mean? Like you can have like a few mess ups here and there, man, but it's how you finish, not how you start.
You had to have done something good to get where you're at now. So you see, it's not always bad. It's not always bad.
That is it for today. Thank you so much, Freddie, for joining us here on RGV Rocks. Do you have any shout outs or any social media plugins you want to say once again?
Oh, yeah, dude. I have a list here with everybody. Do you got 20 minutes? I'm just kidding. No. So I want to give a big shout out, to all the listeners, that have really been pushing me, to keep this up. Whenever I miss an episode, people are like, hey, man, what's up, bro? Everything good? So shout out to them. A big shout out to the food truck that I work at now on weekends called El Sancho Tex-Mex Barbecue. We're serving up some of the best, Tex-Mex tacos in South Texas, not the Valley, in South Texas. You know what I'm saying? A big shout out, to my co-host of Fred Shred from Fred's House. Also, a big shout out to my producer. I had a producer for a while. I don't know he's working out there in Beaumont, but a big shout out to Fernie Rods. He's the one, that would edit all my stuff, cut out my inappropriate words, kept me in line, you know what I'm saying? He would laugh at my jokes too, so that was always cool, But yeah, a big shout out to everybody listening, man. A big shout out to you guys, for doing this, and highlighting, the people, that are trying to do stuff here in the Valley, We're a team, you know what I'm saying? We're all a team, man, so anything y'all need, y'all let me know. Y'all need some barbecue for an event, I got y'all, Just holler at your boy.
Hey.
Heck yeah. Remember that, okay? I might just have you cook for me just to cook. Shit, that's about good enough for me,
But I'm going shirtless. Just so you know. That's how I do it. I'm going shirtless.
Oh, where can we find you at, actually?
You hear that? You're my dog, Yes. We're finishing up, You can find me on all social media platforms, IG, Snapchat, Facebook. You can look under the I'll have another podcast. Also, you can find my small catering company that I do called a Damn Good Meat Company.
Okay.
A Damn Good Meat Co. on everything. And it's about it, pretty much. And then my podcast on all platforms too, Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, all that good stuff,
And under what name again was it? Yeah, I have another.
Yeah, I'll have another. Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear, and it's great interview there, Fred. And I really appreciate you for being here. Yeah. And we really thank you for all the hard work you are doing, and keep up the great one. 50 episodes in already. That's amazing. Doing great.
Oh yeah.
What can I say? Keep interviewing those people that don't want to get interviewed, and that's the way we get successful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys.
I want to send out a big old shout out to my co-host here, Miss Scarlett Rose, for always being there and always making it happen and stuff. And of course, a big old shout out to you, Fred, and all your friends and all your family and everybody that's there with you to keeping up this podcast going for yourself. Yeah, I'll take another. That's a good one. I like that. Fred is the second one, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And okay. I also want to send out a big old shout out to my two beautiful daughters, Drenady and Darren Dre, and then of course my grandson Carson. He is my everything there. That's my little man. And
That's
a big old shout out for all the beautiful people, listeners that are listening as well. Okay. Miss Scarlett Rose.
So if you guys want to check us out, learn more about what we do on our show, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is just RGV Rocks, and Twitter is Rocks RGV. Once again, Facebook and Instagram, RGV Rocks, Twitter, Rocks RGV. We also have a Patreon account, so if you guys want to subscribe to that Patreon account, it's www.patreon.com/RGV Rocks. And if you guys want to check us out on there, just make sure that you have 3 different tiers. The first one through all of them gives you a very special shout out. So if you guys want to have a very special shout out for the end of our podcast, be sure to select the first tier or the other ones. You'll still get a very special shout out as well as exclusive perks. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much, Freddie, for joining us here today on RGV Rocks. I especially want to give a very special shout out to my co-host Rudy. Thank you so much for being with me every single show for season 4. So I'm very excited about that. And I especially want to remind everyone, thank you for listening to our humble little show. We'll be here next time on KCYP 97.7 FMLP, The City. See ya.
Peace.